Hello and welcome. You're watching My 11th Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. I'm Gaurav Kapur, sitting in Mumbai with a little cup of, well, it's a green smoothie. It's got a lot of really disgusting stuff, which is good for you. I've got Michael Vaughan joining us from lovely UK with is that a cup of tea?
Cup of tea, Yorkshire tea.
Yorkshire tea. Yorkshire tea is good. And we've got Joy Bhattacharjya, who is in Gurgaon. So for the last 2 hours, they're probably drinking something much harder.
Yeah. In our part of the world, the liquor shops open before the tea shops in the morning. So yeah, it's not difficult. However, it's been an important game, so I've decided not to partake at this point in time.
What? I feel like this is the kind of game that might require a few drinks, right? This is that kind of game. Because if you're a supporter of either of these teams, we've got Delhi and Bangalore playing, there is so much that can happen today, right? And this always reminds me, the scenarios always remind me, and Michael Vaughan will like this story. 2007 T20 World Cup, the first of its kind. Bumble, David Lloyd on commentary. This new phenomenon of this T20 game has come, and I remember him clearly on the comms. It was one of those which was, could have been a 6, then you thought it's a 4, but then it became a run out. It was just one of those deliveries where everything happened. So Bumble on commentary said, "Oh, that's a 6. No, it's a 4. Oh, he's dropped it. Oh, it's a run out. Somebody get me a drink." Live on commentary from South Africa. I feel like it's going to be one of those days for these teams today. It's Delhi playing Bangalore, and of course, qualification scenario. We'll talk about that. We'll have a look at them on the points table. Can we bring that up, please? The points table. Let's have a look at that and tell you what exactly is going on. See, on the face of it, these two teams are safe, right? They look safe. They look reasonable. What's the problem? Yeah, you've got Bangalore and Delhi. They're 2 and 3. But what is happening with this table is, and as Joy, of course, would have been supremely happy last night with Kolkata with their win coming from 8 to 4. But yesterday, with their net run rate, they could have actually gone from 8 to 2, which would have just been the bizarrest game of snakes and ladders I've seen in 13 seasons. But today, one team will win and go to 16, and that team will be safe, right? The team that loses will then need to ensure that they don't lose big, right, Joy? You'll talk us through the math of this a little bit while Michael and I look at you in awe and bewilderment.
No, I don't have the exact figures, but as of yesterday, it was, I think, 22 runs. It was that if Delhi lost by more than 22 runs, I think it was a situation where they'd get knocked out. Yeah, there it is. Delhi batting first shouldn't lose by more than 12.
Yeah, but Delhi's chasing, so.
Yeah.
Hang on. Isn't Delhi chasing? Yeah, Delhi won the toss and they're chasing.
Yeah. So it should be the opposite. We need to see the other one, actually.
Okay.
We need to see the other one. I think it's about 70. Yeah, there it is.
There you go.
There. Shouldn't be lose by more than 18 or 19 runs, or shouldn't lose by a certain number of overs to spare, 18 or 19 balls to spare. So it's not very tight. Yeah. And I've seen situations like this in Champions League. It's like a second target. So you go for target 1, which is to win. Because look, there's more at stake than just qualifying. Win means you come into second place as well, which means you play a game less. You get an extra chance at qualifying. So winning is obviously highest priority. But if you lose, you shouldn't lose with more than 15 balls to spare.
It's quite interesting, right, Michael? Because yesterday it almost seemed with Rajasthan that they were going for the second target before the first target.
Yeah, it's always a fine balance. It's only the IPL that could draw up a situation where two teams today, one that wins could be 2 games away from winning the tournament. You lose okay, you're 3 games away from winning the tournament. You lose badly, you could be gone. It's only the IPL that draws up these scenarios. Both teams out of form, been used to losing lately. Delhi have just fallen off a cliff. They were so good at the start of the tournament. Everything was working. That pace partnership of Rabada and Nokia was outstanding. Dhawan was scoring runs for fun. And all of a sudden they lost confidence. They lost their confidence. They lost their mojo in terms of the way that they were playing. Very intrigued to see how they bounced back. They're doing the right thing in Abu Dhabi by chasing. You know, it's been a favourable ground for the chasing side. I think 8 of the last 9 games the chasing team have won. So they're doing the right way of winning on this ground at this stage. But when you get to this stage of pressure, it's just about the individuals sticking the hand up. Which individuals of either side want to stick the hand up to win the game for their team? Because that's what it's going to take. An individual genius batting display or 2 or 3 overs spell by a certain bowler or 2 from either side. You've got down to the nitty gritty. It's only the IPL that takes it right to the wire.
Yeah, and it has. And for both these teams, it's really shocking, right, Joy? Because if you looked at the scenario 10 days ago, you were thinking, all right, just let's just get this done. We've got the four teams. We've at least got three that are for sure qualified. And we've come down to the penultimate day of the league, looking at one of these teams potentially being out. It's just shocking, the slide in form. And it's you can say that, oh, it's the other teams that have been winning and stuff, but it's their doing. Delhi's lost 4 in a row. Bangalore's lost 3 in a row, which completely defies the form they've had leading up into this sort of run of rot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of those defeats, if you look at those 7 defeats, there's one from Delhi and one from Bangalore, which you'd say the other team just blew them away. They just played too well, and they chased amazingly. The other ones were inexplicable collapses, things that they can absolutely blame on themselves. It wasn't, when you say sometimes that you say the other team was way too good today, the other is that we beat ourselves. We basically made a mess of the game.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at it, 5 of those 7 games, these guys made a mess of for themselves. And that's what will worry them more than anyone else, because everyone in the IPL knows that days are going to happen. There are going to be days in this tournament where somebody like a Ben Stokes will play a beauty and you can't do anything about it. You could put 200 in the board and they'll chase it. But not all those defeats were like that. That would be worrying them.
Yeah, and for Delhi, well, you could say that the odds are against them because they are coming off 4 losses now, and today a 5th loss. And here's the strange thing, right? I mean, you've got players who in poor form. They've lost 4 matches. They've never won in Abu Dhabi, right? They've lost 4 games in Abu Dhabi. So they obviously are walking onto this ground saying, please be kind to us. And with run chases, they've won the single game and they've lost 3. But here's another question I have for you, Michael. Just presume that it's a very close game and Bangalore wins, right? So Delhi loses, but their net run rate still stays ahead of, Kolkata or Hyderabad, who has to win tomorrow to challenge, but still they qualify. Really, they're taking 5 losses into a playoff. I don't even think they'd expect themselves to win that day.
No, I mean, it kind of tells you the history of the IPL that teams don't go on and win when they're in that kind of form going into the qualifications. Who knows this year? We're in a strange year for everything around the world, so it may happen. It probably will happen.
But do I hear second lockdown? Anybody? Anybody? Anybody?
Yeah, I'm locked up from Thursday, so I'm making the most of the next couple of days just to go out and breathe. Yeah, it's a funny scenario when you start talking teams, because suddenly Delhi, if they make the qualifications having lost today, they'll talk the game of course we can win the tournament. We know pretty much from watching sport that you need individuals with confidence when you start getting to the real nitty-gritty of performance under pressure. Today's a big game, a performance under pressure. They've somehow just got to try and get that same system that was working for them at the start of the tournament. All the stats that are against them, the ground they're playing at, they've not been a great chasing side. The last 4 games they've lost, so everything's against Delhi today. I'm intrigued to see and hear what Ricky Ponting's done with the side over the last few days to try and get them into some kind of positive state of mind to go out there, forget the last 4, remember the first 8, because in the first 8 games of the tournament, they were outstanding.
They've made some changes, though. I can't tell you what they've done in the last few days, but I can tell you what they've done today. Let's show you the changes, because they made 3 of them, is what Delhi has done. So we'll have a look at that team. They've got Daniel Sams, who has come in. They've got Ajinkya Rahane at the top of the order, who's come in. They've got Akshar Patel back, which just makes sense. No one's going to question that. But here is what they have done, Joy, that they have dropped Shemran Hetmeyer and they have padded their bowling. So now they have Sams, Rabada, Nokia. The 3 of them, right? They don't seem, they have Ashwin, they also don't have that 3rd bowler. So you see what they've done, right? So with their 3rd bowler, whoever was Tushar, 3rd pacer, which was Tushar Deshpande or Harshal Patel, or Avesh Khan as well, they've now got Ajinkya at the top for that, and then dropped a batsman and got a bowler. So they've just got a little more international with their bowling.
Yeah, I like it. I like it because I genuinely believe, if you see even the last game, the game you might have said, Owen Morgan won the game. Owen Morgan didn't win the game. The game was won by Pat Cummins opening it up out there. You need wickets. The great thing is they're going to bowl at this Bangalore attack with 3 international fast bowlers. Daniel Sams, Nokia, Rabada. Okay, which means also that they can use Rabada a bit earlier, because Sams can also bowl at the death. And I think what they're saying is we've got 2 of the best spinners in the game. We have Mumbai, these guys have quite a few batsmen, left-handed batsmen also. Padikkal, there's Washington Sundar. We have Ashwin coming into bowl. We have Akshar Patel, who's really sharp. Let's go with our best bowling attack. And if 6 batsmen can't do it for us, with Stoinis out there, 7 batsmen, and Akshar Patel, the 8th batsman, we don't believe that an extra batsman will do it for us. And face it, Hetmeyer has not set anything on fire in the last 2 weeks.
Absolutely. Actually, Michael, I'll get you in real quick a word on Daniel Sams, because you saw a bit of him in the Big Bash, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, he's a class act. I mean, in Australia, obviously different conditions, but the left arm, he's smart, clever, got good variations. He can actually whack a 6 or 2 if required as well with the bat in hand. Left armers are a must in T20 cricket, so I don't think it's a bad move. I just look at mindset. It's all about the mindset for Delhi. On paper, both sides look outstanding. They've got everything covered. They've got all the angles. They've got all the kind of combinations that you'd want. It's purely about the positivity of mind playing in a game like this. On the back of playing so poorly, they've gone for the changes, which a lot of the teams do when they've been in this kind of run to try and refreshen things up and trying to forget what's gone. The best way to forget what's gone is to just pick a different team. That's pretty much what they've done.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, actually, that they've thought of this in their 14th game, which is go with 3 international bowlers, go with Stoinis, and just pack it with Indian batsmen from 1 to 5. They have it on the bench. Now they just need them to deliver in the middle, which hasn't been happening with the Delhi batting for the last few games. Let's have a look at what Bangalore's done with their team, because Bangalore's got couple of changes, one change. What have they got? 2 changes, yeah. So Shivam Dubey, who's come in for Gurkeerat Maan, and Shahbaz Ahmed, who's come in for Navdeep Saini. So was Navdeep Saini, Joy, did he have a niggle or an issue?
He had a niggle. He had a niggle, so Shahbaz was a replacement. I mean, they just didn't think they had a quality fast bowler out there. They've gone with Shahbaz instead of Navdeep, who gives them a different variation because they have enough fast bowlers. And what Shahbaz does is he strengthens their batting as well. Yeah. He's a more than capable batsman. He can give it a whack. So they've got Shivam Dubey there. They've got Shahbaz there. I think their bat looks strength. If you look at Delhi, I think the Delhi bowling looks more international, more classy at this point in time. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting how that pans out, because I tend to believe, like maybe Ponting has taken the call, that international bowlers are going to make the difference for you. So I'd really like to see how this pans out now.
I am also very interested in seeing how all of you sitting at home, and I hope you're sitting at home, will make your team on my11circle.com. Download the app and then choose 11 players. You got to mix them up from Delhi and from Bangalore. And then, of course, as they do well on the pitch, you get the points and you beat the champions. That's what you do. We're going to help you a little bit, right? We're going to help you. You know the teams now. We're going to help you by giving you our pick for the My11 Circle trump card, who we instinctively think, and perhaps supported with a little bit of data, would do well. I feel it's Rabada because there's been a few sand dunes, Michael, in the last few games. They're bound to hit the oasis with him now, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's a class act. Yeah, he's had a iffy time. It's kind of been apparent of the team Delhi that if Rabada fires, generally they play nicely. He's had a couple of off games. He's up there with the best. You talk Cummins, you talk Bumrah. I think Rabada's up there with Jofra Archers. That kind of 4 is the 4 quicks in T20 cricket that you talk about. He's got everything. He can bowl quickly. He can bowl quick bounces, slow ball bounces, Yorkers, wide Yorkers, slow balls, length. And he's got the calmness and the temperament to match. So they will need him tonight, no question. Against this kind of batting lineup, they're going to need him.
Because when they had him and Nokia, they were just on fire, right? When these two were on fire, Delhi was on fire. And Joy, they need these two to be on fire again today. And that's why they bolstered it with Daniel Sams as well today.
Yeah, don't be surprised if they give Rabada the new ball now. And turn around and say, you know what, you've never got a chance to bowl the new ball. You've had to bowl later. Look at where he's been bowling much later than he normally bowls. So I am saying, let him bowl, give him the new ball, and say, you know what, there's Sams to bowl the extra overs in the middle that you bowl. I'll give you a couple with a new ball. You've never had the chance. Go there and clean them out.
Yeah, that's interesting. That could change it around for him, like a hard reboot almost, right? Because those last 2 matches, when you see those figures, I mean, if I blanked out Rabada's name, exactly. You would never guess.
Yeah, exactly.
That's Rabada, right, Michael? That's not Rabada.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that Delhi will be looking at is the matchups. You know, Josh Felipe at the top of the order, he probably wants pace on the ball, so they might start with spin to him. I would think they'll want Rabada for Virat Kohli and AB de Villiers. You would think they'd want the trump card to be at least 3 overs available for those two high-class players. And as I said, Felipe, I mean, Padikal's outstanding at the top. But I just think Felipe does like pace on the ball. So they might start with the slower bowler, maybe use one of Rabada, but they'll want plenty in store for those times that the two world-class performers comes out there.
But I mean, there are some batsmen who like pace on the ball, but 150?
He does.
Does he like 150 as well? Well, we'll just see. We'll just see. Of course, now with the added padding of Sam's, gives more options to Shreyas Iyer, the captain, to maybe perhaps use Rabada in a longer 3-over burst, perhaps right at the top. If he bowls him at the top as well. I'm done guessing. I'm really done guessing who's getting the new ball, who's coming out to open. Like, there's no way I'm going to guess who's going to open for Delhi because they've got 3 openers now. I don't know, just pick names out of a hat because there's no way you can make an informed decision on that. Let's have a look at our boost stamina meter as well. I want to have a quick look at this because we're talking about fast bowlers and there's loads and loads of fast bowlers, of course, on our boost stamina meter. You've got Jofra Archer up there. You've got Bumrah, Bolt. You've got Nokia, Cummins, Shami. And then, of course, you've got both the captains featuring today at number 5 and 6. We've got Virat Kohli and Shreyas Iyer both. Let's see who we're focusing on today, and let's have a look at their stats. The Delhi captain, Shreyas Iyer, his batting rating is 80.1. He's the second highest rated batsman this season, of course, and Delhi's second highest run getter. Has stayed at the pitch for an average of 52 balls. Michael, it's a good sign. You're seeing a bit of maturity from him as a captain, not just in the field, but even when he's in the middle batting.
Yeah, he's a class player. I mean, he's the kind of player that'll have to arrive tonight and play to the standard that we've seen him. You know, he'll be more kind of impressing on his side, that mentality that they showed in the first few games. It'll be a real concern to him the last 4 games that they've lost. Or they've not been hammered, but, you know, they've lost games of cricket that, you know, he would have expected them to have at least won 2 of them. So as a leader, he's kind of got to work his magic in terms of man management to trying to grab that team, particularly that top 5, the Indian top 5 batting. He's somehow got to really free them up to go out and play. They're all wonderful players. They've got the gift to be able to strike the ball. And he's got to really free that top 5 up to go and say, go on, let's just go for it. And there's no point in holding back. Let's not be timid. Let's not be negative in our mindset. We've just got to go for it. And that's down to his leadership to give them that pretty much free opportunity to go out and play the way that we all know they can. If he can do that, score a few runs, take them through to the qualifications, finish in the top 2, still got a chance of winning the tournament.
Yeah, Joy, it's so strange that we're talking about this, right? This statement from Michael is it's a ringing endorsement for kind of the downturn that Delhi has had this season, because just to talk about liberating that batting lineup to say attack more, like I remember looking at that when we did the preview shows going, this is perhaps one of the most attacking batting lineups, right? To a point where people just got them in jail now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and what happened is once Prithvi Shaw went off the boil, Shikhar was on for a couple of matches, and then he went off the boil as well. And Rahane never just got going. So one of the problems you see is those 52 balls that you've seen that him batting on, a lot of it is he's come in at 11 for 2s and 15 for 2s. So he's also not managed to play with freedom because they've lost wickets early. He's been forced to go in early. He's been forced to eat balls so as to not give his wicket away early. And that's why he's also been pressured. In the first few matches, what was happening was that Shaw was giving him that kind of start that he didn't have to worry about it. And that's exactly the problem I think they'll look at today, and they'll say that, let the captain walk in at the situation. And as I said, Rahane might come in before him. My sense is Shikhar will open no matter what because of the left right.
Yeah.
And then it'll be Prithvi or Rahane. I think it'll be Prithvi because they'll just say, go for it with the new ball with Prithvi and then Rahane. But yeah, who knows how it'll turn out.
Yeah, and of course, let's not forget that Rishabh Pant, they just haven't got from Pant what they used to from Pant. He also had that injury in the middle. So you're coming from a lockdown. Then you go into the tournament. You weren't in the white ball team. You don't know what exactly is going on with the international future. Sometimes it can be a real sort of, it's a hard time emotionally as well, I guess. But hopefully we can see a little more from Rishabh because he's just such an entertaining batsman when he gets going. As is the captain of Bangalore, Virat Kohli. Virat. Bangalore fans, need more from Virat, Michael. When did we ever think we'd say that? This year is just bizarre.
Yeah, 2020, the year that Virat Kohli became normal. He's found that there are many other players that have gone through these kind of struggles. It's not really a massive struggle. Look at the numbers, still got 431 runs at a strike rate of 122, but he's better than that. He's a player that should be striking at over 140. He should be winning the RCB more games than he has done. But as I said, he's a human being. He can, as everyone can, have periods where it doesn't come quite as easy maybe it had done in the last few years. Maybe a little bit of the rub of the green hasn't gone his way. Lose a bit of confidence. The mindset's not quite what it was. But I would always think that in games like this, where you have to win and you have to play well, I'd be staggered if Virat doesn't get a score. Virat and AB de Villiers, these are the days that those two characters in particular are made for. They know how to play the pressure. They know how to deliver. They've done it so many times in the past. I'd be amazed if at least one of them doesn't do something special this evening.
We're just so greedy, aren't we, Joy? We just the boys had a 400+ season. And we're going, sir, please, little more, sir, please. But in all fairness, Michael makes a very valid point. He's better than 122 strike rate. I mean, the fact is that he is a far exponentially better player than he was 4 years ago when we look at those 4-year numbers. But the fact is, he's definitely a better player than a 122 strike rate.
Yeah, I saw of all his knocks, there was only one knock where I saw him actually play with total freedom. Otherwise, he's always controlling himself. It's a lot like Warner till the last couple of matches. Warner was just holding himself back. I think Virat is doing a lot of that. And it's surprising. I think Finch not getting starts has been a bit of a problem. Though Devdutt Padikkal gave them a lot up front, but Finch not giving starts just put that little bit of pressure on him. And I feel that my only thing is that, when you look at this matchup, the only plus I'd say, and I go completely with Michael in this, the experienced international hands generally tend to hold up better in stress situations like today. So yes, it is a day where you'd expect a Virat Kohli, you'd expect somebody like a Kohli, a Rabada, an AB de Villiers, maybe even an Ashwin. These are experienced international guys who played World Cup. They know a little bit about pressure. You expect them to hold up a little bit better.
Yeah, and the only thing I'd say about Virat, and it happens to some players when they get a bit older, they go through periods where they almost overthink too much because they've got so much in the data storage of the mind that they start overthinking it. Whereas when they're younger, they just play and they just go for it and they play fearless cricket because they know they've got many, many, many more years to come. Virat's still got many years. You look at Warner, as Joy mentioned, that he was overcomplicating batting and then he suddenly thought, I'm just going to whack it. I prefer Virat Kohli in T20 cricket going out there with an intent to hit boundaries. He'll activate most balls because he's so skillful, but I think he's that good that he can almost pick on bowlers and hit boundaries at will. I think he's a better player when he's really attacking all bowlers, not picking and waiting for his match. He doesn't have to wait for matchups. He can match up to anybody and destroy them. He doesn't need that. I just like to see he and AB de Villiers just go out there and try and almost demoralise an opposing bowling unit because they're that good. It's not always going to pay off, but I think they've got to put that into their mindset. That's what they have to do today is go and demoralise the opposing bowling because they've got so much skill and mentality to do so.
Yeah, and the thing with AB is Virat could learn from AB. AB doesn't seem like he ever overthinks the game, right? You can see that he thinks, but he doesn't overthink. Or maybe his processor is just faster than every other supercomputer, right? He can just figure it out and just attack everyone with the same disdain. Sorry, Joy, you're saying?
No, I was just saying that, this is so typical of Michael, because when Michael was the captain of England and he was England's one of the most successful captains, he knew which players not to overcomplicate. And I remember interviewing Monty Panesar. And he knew that Monty was the kind of bowler, if you try and tell him this field position, that, he would just set the field. And Monty was telling me and said, give it your best ball. Because Michael knew exactly how to free somebody like a Monty to play his best game. The moment Monty Panesar started thinking about the game, that wasn't good for his bowling.
Well, it's a trouble. Yeah. To be fair, when Monty actually thinks, it's a worry.
Some are just instinctive, right? Some are better with instinct and some are better with thought.
Yeah. I mean, it's knowing people in your team and what they are best at. Monty Panesar could bowl the best left arm kind of spin bowling delivery, hard into length, spins it a mile on a good pitch. He didn't need to think of anything other, just deliver that delivery.
Yeah. And it is. That's what captains need to do. I remember, Michael, we had the same conversation a few days ago about, I think, Mike Bailey and Ian Botham. And then about Punjab and Chris Gayle. It's how you get a player to unleash themselves. And today, both captains will have to do that. Michael just mentioned that Shreyas Iyer has to do that. I think Shreyas Iyer has to do that with the Delhi batting more than Virat has to do with the Bangalore batting, because they're still getting a few more than Delhi's been getting, because they've really had poor returns with the bat. And I'm sure that Hyderabad loss especially will be stinging, because I think that was by an innings and 346 runs. So that's definitely going to be stinging. Ask Cricbuzz Live. That's our hashtag on Twitter. So if you have any questions for us, we would love to answer them. We have one before Joy gives you a question. I'm going to give Joy a question that we've got from one of our fans. Bring it. Shantanu Phatak has asked a question. What can a coach do when a team hits a slippery patch like Delhi and Bangalore have now hit with Ricky Ponting, Mike Hesson, and Simon Kadich for feeling restless in the dugout? Geez, this is an essay type answer.
This Michael should answer. I'm happy to try, but Michael would know much more than me.
I talk about mindset and a line that they really have had to create a very relaxed atmosphere to allow the players to feel that they can go and play fearless cricket. I think if they'd created a tension and had more meetings than necessarily they had at the start of the tournament, I think players start to think, well, why are we having so many meetings? They're almost complicating life. T20 cricket is a high pressurized game of cricket, but you have to simplify it. And I would have expected both of the coaching kind of groups to have taken individual players into a room, not have big team meetings, but it's about getting the individual players into the right state of mind to go and express themselves and really back their ability to produce the wisdom, the striking with the bat in hand, the deliveries at the right time with the ball in hand. It's not really rocket science that you have to deliver it. You just, and you also look at it from a coach's perspective. Ricky Ponting, he's under pressure. He would have expected, as everyone would be, to make the qualifications, make that top two. Simon Kadich new this year to the RCB again, a big chance for him. These coaches are under as much pressure as the players, because the IPL is a tough school. If you have a bad year, you're gone.
Yeah.
So either side today loses badly and potentially doesn't make the qualification. You have to say that there would be a doubt whether the same coach. That's the pressure of what the IPL brings.
Well, we're going to ask you an equally difficult question now, because we've got the Joy Factor question coming up. Over to you, sir.
It's one I like. If it's Sarfraz Ahmed for the current Kolkata coach and Ishant Sharma for Alistair Cook, who is it for Rahul Dravid? Not that easy. It's a bit
Good one.
I have absolutely no idea. If you all know, then please hashtag Cricbuzz Live. Send in your answers to the Joy Factor question. Can't help you at all. I don't know. I genuinely have no idea. Monty Panesar? I don't know. I have no idea. Well, we have one last piece of business, which is our My 11 Circle Badge of Honor. What's the guesses? Get your guesses in, gentlemen. So Bangalore batting first. Abu Dhabi. Big game. How many are they going to get?
I'm going 185.
Oh, big.
Glenn Turner, 1975, 175. Oh, no, he got 172. No, Kapil Dev, Tunbridge Wells, 175. Yeah.
Tunbridge Wells, lovely place.
175, yeah.
I'm going to go 164. There's no trivia attached to it, just 164. 164, 175, 185. Those are our guesses. Well, that's all we have time for. We'll see you at the end of the 10th over with Cricbuzz Combox. This is Gaurav Kapur saying thank you to Joy Bhattacharjya and Michael Vaughan. Thank you for watching.